Alright, so this is one of those those pieces I had in that rust remover bath. It's a handy chisel. I thought it'd be really cool. Got a piece of ash here. I'm probably gonna go ahead and make a handle for it, and we'll get it fit in there with some epoxy and get it back to use. I've already sharpened it pretty much and cleaned it up. My bench grinder stopped working on me. But yeah, we're gonna get this all fixed up and put a new handle on it. Alright, so first we're gonna see how deep we need to drill this hole first. So I got it fit on there. I'm gonna go a little deeper if I need to, so I'll go like right here. See how deep that needs to be. And that's about, I'm gonna go with an inch and a half. So we'll go about an inch and a half deep with a 3/8. I measured this edge, and it's about all the way to the deepest, to the widest. It's about 3/8. So we'll get a 3/8 Forstner bit in there and get everything set up. I've got another chisel, and I kind of want to base the handle off this. Won't be rounded because I don't have a lathe, but I want to have the same length of handle, so I will mark it probably about to here. And like I said, I don't have a lathe, so this won't be perfect, but it'll be nice fitting. And this was my wife's grandpa's, I believe, some of his tools he came with, so it's nice to kind of restore some old stuff and maybe possibly give it back to her mom or her father. So, alright, so that's how deep I'm gonna drill, and that's how long the handle is. I'm gonna get it cut off, and we'll get it going. I prefer a Japanese handsaw for a lot of my small stuff. I try to use minimal tools for most of my stuff when I'm doing small little handles and stuff like this. This has a cross-cutting edge and a so you got one with the grain and against the grain. So I was going against the grain, and that's why I was using that edge. So it's a real cool tool to use when you're making small stuff, because you don't want to use like a power saw or something small. So I used a 3/8 Forstner bit. If y'all know what a Forstner bit is, Google it, because for woodworking and stuff of that nature, you want a fine hole. You want a real fine hole. So a Forstner bit's where you want to be. Alright, so now we're going to do a dry fit. Looks like it fits in there pretty good, I think anyway. We'll go ahead and clean that hole out and get some epoxy in there. So for most of my woodworking, I use Loctite epoxy, and it's just a general purpose instant mini mix. So what y'all are looking at right now is where I screwed up. I did not put the tip on this epoxy, and it did not cure. I had to go back and clean it out and redo it. So learn from my mistakes. This is a 5-minute epoxy. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just keep my finger on here, hold it tight in the position I want while it cools or while it sets. I would normally put a pin in or something, but since this won't be getting hammered or chopping or stabbed, I think epoxy just is going to be just fine. But I'm just going to hold my finger here until I feel that it has set, and I wipe the excess off as well. So once this is set, it says 5 minutes, but I'm going to give it longer than that. I will go ahead and start sanding and stuff. Alright guys, so we got a finished product here. You want to let this boil linseed oil sit in. You don't really want to wipe it off. I'll probably put another coat on. You really want to let this soak in, especially on the end grain. Think of wood like a bunch of straws, and if you look into the grain, it's just like, imagine a bunch of strands of like hay or straw, and you want to let the oil soak in as far as it'll go. And that's a nice little handle. Like I said, I'm gonna put a little more BLO on here, and I'm probably gonna try to give this back to Ashley's family. I know this was her grandpa's chisel. If they don't want it, I'll gladly hold on to it for them and use it. But I feel like it needs to go back to its proper owner. But it really turned out well. And it was so rusty. That's a handy chisel with a nice white ash handle. Sometimes people would use like hickory, but I think the ash is what I had, so I used it. But it's a perfect little chisel now.